All right, your book, your what you call it, says 6.1, right? Discrete random variables, random variable. We already talked about a random variable. We already talked about that in the first unit. I'm not going to worry about that. We talked about discrete probability distribution. We will do that. Okay. Now, let me turn on the whiteboard here. And what am I going to talk about? Well, in the beginning, there was life. I'm sorry. In the beginning, we talked about statistics. Talked about statistics. And I know it's not writing stat. Statistics. And I told you that there was two types of statistics. I told you that when you get your mean, median, and mode, you can do it with a test group, like test grades, 78, 42, 86, 92, and you find your mean, median, and mode with test numbers, test grades. Remember that? And then I said that you could find the mean, median, and mode with a frequency distribution. Remember? A, B, C, D, 4, 3, 1, 7, 2. And I told you you could find, and this is called frequency distribution, right? Remember me talking about that? All right, well, we're going to do the same thing now. That was with Unit 1. All right, Unit 2, we've talked about probability, or whatever unit we're in. Unit 2, well, this is Unit 3. But in Unit 2, we talked about probability of picking a king. And then we talked about the probability of picking a king or a queen, which is what? What's the or? Additive law. Probability of picking a 2 and a 4. And that's what? The multiplicative law. And we talked about the lottery. Okay? So we talked about these things that were basic probability. Test scores, basic what? Statistics. Basic probability. Okay, this is Unit 2. Getting toward the right of the screen, so it's going to get funky. Unit 3, we're taking these guys and we're putting it in a frequency distribution. But we can't call it a frequency distribution because this is a frequency distribution. So we keep the distribution part, but we call it a binomial distribution, or we call it a probability distribution. You with me? Okay, so there is, I don't know what they call the top, but let's see, I can't remember right now. But anyway, the attempts, like, let's say the probability of the World Series going 7 games. Well, the number of games that it could go with winning is 4, right? If you win 4 games, then you're the world champions, because there's no way you can get better than 4 games out of 7. So 5, 6, 7. 5 games, 7 games, 6 games, and 7 games. Now the probability of that event, this is the event, and this is the probability of the event. This might be 0.02. Oh, no. 0.20. This may be 0.40, and this may be 0.40. Okay. Now, I want you just to make the correlation. Basic statistics that you did back from the 7th, 8th grade, figuring up your grade in whatever subject. Take your test grade, divide by blah, blah, blah. Keep standard deviation. We talked about that. Then, something you haven't seen before, getting the mean and the standard deviation. Finding the probability, basics. Now you're going to find the mean and the standard deviation using a probability distribution. Okay? So, some kind of similarity there. And I want you to see what we're going into. All right? Now, there's two tests that you need to check with this guy right here. So we're going to go over to the next page and we're going to do that test because you have to check. Now, I'm not one to try to trick students. All right? But there are some tests and homework that will try to trick you. So this is the event. And this is the probability of the event. And let's say it's the same thing, 5, 6 games, whatever. 5 games, 6 games, 7 games. And 0.25. And 0.5. And 0.25. I'm just making it a little bit different. Now, what are the two tests? The first test is that each probability has to be between 0 and 1. Y'all all know that because the probability of any situation is between 0 and 1. So there's all three of these between 0 and 1. Yes. All three. If one of them was 1.5, then you just mark the whole thing, put a big X through it, and say cannot be done. Okay? And there will be some in your homework with negatives, like a negative 0.25 or a 1.25 or a 5, and you can't just put an X through it and say cannot be done, does not exist, or whatever. Okay? The other test is you add all these up, and it equals what? Okay? 1. Actually, it's supposed to be 1, but they will let you buy with 0.999 to 1.001. Okay? As long as it falls right in there. Now look in your book somewhere. Let's look in the book right quick because they're probably going to give you some kind of variance with that. Let's look and see. Okay, they say it's between 0 and 1, but you might want to look somewhere because they might change that and might give you a little bit of, no, they don't. But unless, usually they give you a 0.001 variance. What they might do is just give that to you in your homework. In other words, if you say 1.001, they'll take it. But usually it's going to equal 1. And I think this one is not. Why? It's a negative. This one could be, you add them up. This one could be, add them up. I'm just looking at them. This one looks kind of big though, because that's 0.5 and that's 0.85, 0.95. Somebody add those up. That looks a little bit above 1. 30, that's 75. This one looks like it could work. So let's see what they said. Oh my, look at there. B is above 1. And C looks like it's okay. So you might get a couple of these on the test that ask if you can actually do it. And that's it. That's the two tests. And the two tests are on page, for those that need to know, on page, I saw it. There it is. Bottom of page 299. Now, for you to understand a probability distribution, I want you to understand how to make one. Now, I'm not going to ask you to make one, but I think that it's very important for you to make one, just one, so you understand what it is. So we're going to do that, and I doubt it's even in your book. It could be, I don't know, but we're going to do one. And I want you to put in your notes that this is just for your information. It's not testable. I don't think it is. I don't think there's one on the test like it. I just want you to see how to do it, and I'm going to make up a question and put it on the board up here. And I'm going to say, of course, my wording is not going to be as perfect as the book is. A couple wants to have 3 children. This is kind of like the problem we did before, boy, 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 girl, 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 boy, girl, boy, whatever. A couple wants to have 3 children. Construct a probability, or it may be called a binomial distribution or probability distribution. I call them probability distributions. Construct a probability distribution based on the probability of the couple, construct a probability distribution based on the probability of 0.45 of the couple having a boy. In other words, the couple has done all kind of testing and blah, 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 and it is projected that if they have a child, they have a 0.45 chance of being a boy. Okay? Now, the first thing you need to do is construct the sample space, which we've done before. Boy, 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 girl, girl, girl down at the bottom, or girl, girl, girl at the top, and boy, 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 however you want to do it. And then fill in the blanks. There's 8 of them. Okay? Do that right quick. Construct a sample space. Or meditate, like the wildebeest on Zootopia. Boy, boy, boy. Girl, boy, boy. Boy, girl, boy. Boy, boy, girl. Girl, girl, girl. I have to do it this way. Don't laugh at me. Don't judge. Girl, girl, boy. Girl, boy, girl. Girl, girl, no. Girl, boy, boy, right? Is that all of them? There should be 8. I already have, well, tell me which one I don't have. I can't stand these things. What?
Boy, girl, girl.
Girl, thank you. Boy, girl, girl. All right, there's 8 of them. Make sure I didn't repeat. Okay, now, however you want to do it, it doesn't matter, but you know that there's going to be a case where you have all three what? All three what? Boys, all three girls, and then you got a couple instances in between, right? So let's make up a handy dandy straight line. And we'll just say that the probability, the event over here is, we'll just say outcome. Forgive the pun, but you know, when the baby comes out, the baby comes out. You ain't really got any control over it. Okay? And over here is the probability of the outcome. Now, the probability on the left side, the first one, is going to be what? All what? All boys, because it's the first one right here. So all boys. And then the probability of the last one down here is going to be what? All girls. Now you can name the middle ones what you want to, but I'm going to go as far as, since boys is first, I'm going to go boys. So we can say at least one boy, and we can say at least two boys. Okay? At least one boy means that there's one boy in the group, two boys in the group, and then there's what? Three boys in the group, or there's no boys in the group. You see what I'm saying? You could say all girls, you could say one girl. Either one is going to work out the same way because it's the other side of the coin. Complement of a girl is what? A boy. One of the two is going to come out. All right? You see what I'm saying? So don't try to make this hard. So we're going to put one boy. And then the next one is going to be two boys. All right, so here's all our events. We're either going to have how many boys? Three boys. Or we're going to have what? One boy. Or we're going to have what? Two boys. Or we're going to have what? No boys. Zero boys, one boy, two boys, three boys. Now on the other side of the coin is what? All girls, one girl, or what? Two girls, or what? Zero girls. You see what I'm saying? The other side of the coin, I hope you see it. If you don't, then there's no help for you. All right, so how do we do this one? Well, what is the probability of, with this couple, having a boy? I'm sorry, what? Right here. 0.45. So we want to see if the probability of a boy and a boy and a boy. Boy and a boy and a boy. What is that? Multiplicative law. So that's going to be 0.45 to the what? Third flyway. Okay? So that's what that's going to be. Somebody take your calculator out. And what do you get? Trying to find my calculator. There it is. because I know it'll take some of y'all 4 or 5 days to pull out your calculator. So to the third power, and wait till I punch it in. You, oh, I got the answer. Be quiet. I got 0.09. Is that what y'all got? So equals 0.09. All right, now with the one boy, before I do this, let's go to the handy dandy highlighter, and let's highlight this, and then go over here and find one boy. So where's one boy? There's one boy. There's one boy. And there's one boy. Everybody with me? So I've got 3 things I've got to add together. I'm still going to use multiplicative law, but I've got to add the probabilities because there's 3 different what? Events. There's 1 event, there's 2 events, there's 3 events. So I've got to make this one, it's going to be, first of all, let's take the first one. What's the probability of a boy? 0.45. Then what's the complement of 0.45? 0.55, Hubert. That's right, class. So this one is going to be 0.45 times 0.55 to the what power? So this one is going to be, I'm going to put it in parentheses, 0.45 times 0.55 to the second power, close parentheses, plus, parentheses, what's the second one? This event right here. 0.55 squared times 0.45. Everybody see the pattern? So I could actually say that instead of adding, multiplying, I could raise this to the what? Third what? Or times 3. Multiply it times 3, not raising. So multiply this times 3. I'm going to put a times here, same as spreadsheet. Okay? Because how many events are there? There's 3. Now you can add these all together, or you can multiply it by 3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my handy dandy calculator. Hold on a second. Really? Conspiracy is what it is. All right, there's my calculator. And I'm going to take 3 times, parentheses, 0.45 times 0.55 raised to the second power, close parentheses, 0.41. So that's equal to 0.41. Now you do the third one. Will it be 3 times something? Yes. Three times, parentheses, blah, blah, blah. This is something I've always wondered. And then somebody finally put it on Facebook. If 8% of Muslims are radicalized, that means crazy, like the Ku Klux Klan, crazy, all right? And 92% are not. Then why aren't the moderate majority stopping the radicals from killing Christians, stoning women, waging jihad, committing honor killings, and tossing gays from buildings in Muslim majority countries? Huh? I don't know. I really can't answer that question. And the reason I can't answer that is because I've got a friend that I've known since the 3rd grade. And she's Muslim. And there is nobody as sweet and polite, and I just don't see her killing anybody. I just really don't. So I don't understand. It's kind of like, well, the Ku Klux Klan. How long did the Ku Klux Klan rule? I mean, they ruled a while, and Christians just sat by and watched. So, you know, I guess it could be they're scared of them. I don't know. But I wish people would realize that it is a small majority. But the small majority is doing what? Ruining it for the majority. Just like the bubble gum in school. The reason we don't have bubble gum, the reason you can't chew gum in school is because of the idiots that did what with the chewing gum? Stuck it under the desk. Same principle, just different part of your life.
How are you supposed to know they're radicalized?
That's the question.
They were showing those guys, the ones that just did the bombing over there in Belgium, and they're showing like video of these guys having fun and being normal like everybody else. And like that couple that did the shooting, what was that? Almost 14 people. They were like a normal couple. They had a baby.
Yeah, but they were up to cahoots, and people were scared to report them because of political correctness. I mean, they were having shipments coming in at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and doing stuff in their garage at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and people were like, "I don't think that's normal," but they were scared to say anything.
I do think so because there are more events happening.
Oh yeah.
I think more and more people. There was the guy on the news, or maybe it was on the radio. I don't remember, but I was listening to a guy who was a gun salesman who turned down selling a gun to a young man because it just didn't feel right. Something was up with him, and it ended up. He ended up reporting him to the police because he kept showing up.
And he had ties.
Well, no, he had confrontation, like he was threatening a bunch of people. So they ended up fighting, and the police found him and actually had a gun, and he was getting ready to use.
Well, sometimes gut instincts are good. Women has it better than men. Women have it better than men do. They have what is called women's intuition, and usually it's right. Guys got gut feelings. But I'm gonna tell you something. This politically correct bull crap is getting people killed, and it's gonna continue to get people killed if we don't get somebody in there. I don't care who it is that says, you know what? In a meeting, if you're in this kind of a setting, yes, you have political correctness. But when it's defending the country or when it has to do with people's lives, political correctness goes out the freaking window. And that's my own personal opinion. But anyway, I'm through with my speech for the morning. And what about this reporter? Oh my gosh! Okay, if you touch me, I'm gonna put charges up on you. If you come up here and you touch my arm, I'm gonna put charges up on you. And then Cruz is like, all we see is violence coming from Donald Trump. Somebody needs to hit that man with a bat. I hate to say that, but he is so opportunistic. I mean, so everything Donald Trump does, and there's Cruz coming up and telling, and there's just violence coming out of his. I want to rip his head off. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, because I watched that Cruz Secretary of State, and it reminded me of math class anyway, because he's going, well, you know, every event has violence, so the probability that this was gonna happen. You know?
That guy is such an opportunist. I think he would actually sell his mother to be in the presidency. I think he would. I mean, he jumps on everything he can. And people are just, I hope they see it, because when he gets in all it's going to be is the same thing we got now. I'm sorry. That's going to be, he's a politician. Anyway, I just think it's ridiculous. And she grabbed Donald Trump's arm. So they're pressing charges on her, on the guy that grabbed her arm, but they're not pressing charges on her because she grabbed Donald Trump's arm.
Well, she changed her story.
Yeah. Oh, she was thrown down. Yeah, she was thrown down and beaten up. And then Donald Trump came up with the video. Donald Trump got that video.
Who does she work for?
Breitbart, well, she doesn't now, she resigned. Breitbart, yeah. I just think it's ridiculous. It's all Bush's fault. All right. Now, 2 boys. So that would be 0.45, what? Be 0.55 times 0.45 to the second power. And that's going to be equal to, take our handy dandy calculator out, and second function entry. And we'll just change this to a 4. And change that to a what? 0.33. And then the last one. I think y'all can handle that one. That's going to be 0.55 to the what? To the third power. And that's going to be equal to 0.55 to the third power. I got 0.17. Now, let's take these out. Take this calculation out. Oh, go away. Let's take this calculation out. Let's take this calculation out. And this calculation out. And what do we have? We have a probability what? Distribution. Go away. Just want to move it over. Good. Oh, really? Whatever. All right. Now, are all of them between 0 and 1? Yes. And if you add them up, what do you get?
1.
You should get 1. That is a probability distribution. Now, how are you going to use it? Well, I'm going to show you. But I want you to keep this one, and I want you to mark it, because that's how you get a probability distribution. I don't think the book is going to ask you to do that. I don't know, because I don't know the book that well. So, but anyway, that's how you get a probability distribution. So let's look back at the book and see what they talk about. They go through that, and they talk about what it looks like. They talk about doing a histogram. I'm not going to worry about that. I just want you to be able to work with it, and I'll show you what that means. Okay, here we go. Mean is the summation of x over n, and that should be in a little blue box somewhere. Let's look on the next page. There it is. Write that one down, page 302. Now, do you remember when we had to work with the probability, the frequency distribution, we had to find the midpoint? And then we multiplied f times x squared. Well, that was a good practice for this because we're going to do it here too. And the mean is equal to x, the summation of x times p of x. So let's go back to our handy dandy example that we were doing. Everybody got that written down? It's only like 2 or 3 things. You shouldn't have to take half a day to do that. Okay. Here's our example. And we're going to find the mean. Okay, all boys is 3. 1 boy is 1. 2 boys is 2. This is 0. So, as far as in terms of boys, we're going to call this 3 boys. We're going to call this 1 boy, 2 boys, and what? So, this is x, and this is p of what? Just instead of outcome, put x, and then this is p of x. Now I want you to multiply all of those together, and then add them up, and that's your mean. So I'm going to take my handy dandy virtual ruler, and I'm going to put another column, because this is the way we do it. I usually do this in a spreadsheet, but I'm not going to do it right now. And I'm going to call this x times what? P of x, Hubert. Thank you for the interaction. I'll do the last one for you. 0. There. Thought I'd help y'all out mathematically. Y'all settle down, please. And what's wrong? I'm sorry. And people are going to say, what's wrong with a little bit of assertiveness or aggressiveness in the presidency? What's wrong with that? I don't see nothing wrong with it. I mean, the last since Reagan, we've been wussified. So I think it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of aggression in the presidency, in the office of the presidency. I mean, not take over countries or anything, but that gum, we've been pushed around for the last 20 years. I'll shut up. Y'all ain't gonna talk to me, so.
I was just gonna say, I think it's exciting.
I think it is too.
Have a little energy instead of watching the president's dog.
But Ted Cruz can really bring excitement to the White House. Have you ever listened to him? He starts a sentence, and then by the end of the sentence, he's like, "Argh!" Hillary's got problems. Hillary's got major problems. Hillary has like 150 FBI agents investigating her right now. Bernie is whipping her butt on the East Coast. Hillary's got problems. I hope she needs to send Bill out on the campaign trail some more. I don't think Bill, I'm sorry, I respect him and I like him, but there's something wrong with Bill Clinton. He's on meds or something. Some of the stuff he's saying, I'm thinking he's high. Did you hear what he said last? He's trying to run. His wife is trying to kind of fall in the curtails of Obama. And he gets up and says, the last 8 years has been hell. I mean, that's basically what he said. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she had to go on the Tonight Show and say, oh, he didn't really mean that. You ought to have seen how she tried to spin it.
She said it was something about Republicans.
Yeah, she turned it around on the Republicans. I'm like, I don't think Bill's been back up since then. I mean, I like him. I liked him as president. I mean, I don't have any problem with him being president. But her, and my woman, the woman I wanted, she turned out to be a bigger weasel than Cruz. The pictures of Melania Trump was sent from GQ to Carly Fiorina's address. But Ted Cruz didn't know anything about it. Yeah, right, whatever. Oh, he's a weasel. I'm sorry. I'll do one more for you. I'll do this one. 1 times 0.41 is 0.41. I'll do that one for you. All right. Now, what's 3 times 0.09? Well, 3 times 9 cents is 18 cents, right? I meant 27 cents. How about 2 times 9? So this is 27 cents, right? I hope you didn't do that with a calculator. And let's see, 2 times 33 cents is 66 cents. Now, what do you do with all those? Add them up, Hubert. Yep, add them up. So 60 cent plus 40 cents is $1. $1.25. And then you're going to add what? 8 cents to $1.25 is $1.32. Somebody add it up for me. What do you get? One what? 144. Okay. 1 what?
34.
34. So I was off 2 cents. Okay. It's hard for me to keep my mind on track up here. 134. So that is our what? Mean. So that means you're going to have a mean of 1.34 males. Let's just round it down to what? 1 male. So you're going to have an average of 1. No matter how many times you try, you're going to have at least 1 male. That's what they're saying. Okay? All right. So what else can we find? Well, you know what's going to come after the mean. What comes after the mean? The other very important number in statistics. The standard deviation, Hubert. That's right, class. I'm glad that you're learning so much in here. Thanks for the interaction. But that's what's going to come next is the standard deviation. If I can find it. It'll be in here somewhere. There we go. And I like this one. The one I use is 2 Bravo. Okay, 2 Bravo. Right here, 2 Bravo. B is Bravo. The standard deviation is equal to the square root of x squared times p of x minus the mean squared. Now, what I would like for you to do right now is do that, because we've done this kind of stuff before with the frequency distribution. So add, what other column do you need? Look at the formula. What other column do you need? No, you got the average. Huh? X squared. So you need to make another column of x squared, and then after you make that column, what's the next column? Look at your x squared times p of x. Good. Read your formula. And then that's it. Then add those up. And then subtract the mean squared. Or you can meditate. And then the National Choir has Ted Cruz all written up. What was the last politician they talked about? Anybody know? John Edwards. What happened there? Y'all don't even know. Oh, me. I gotta finish up. All right, we'll finish up. Remind me to start with the standard deviation when y'all come back. Y'all can start on 6.1 material though. Let me call the roll. And let me stop the do jigger.